We pitch our tent on the ambassador of Chad, always sitting in the middle. Yes, we know what Chad represents in Africa. And many of us who have traveled to N'Djamena, maybe you're on holiday, maybe you've just happened to be there by connections, you know that country is viable and is contributing to the global economy. Your Excellency, the issue at hand, which is very hot at the moment, is Africa problems, Africa solutions to Africa problems. From your perspective and from your own area of looking at issues and bringing a solution, what is your submission to this particular topic of the moment?
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like, first of all, to thank Director of Peace Institute, Mr. Hermenegilde, for inviting me to make a presentation in this August institution on African approaches to issues of peace and security on the continent. It's a real pleasure and an honor to be here this afternoon to talk about the concept of African solution to African problems. I would like to point out that it's not a concept or a slogan, because Africa is already in the process of seeking and finding solution to its problems on its own and with the assistance of its partners. I will focus on issue relating to peace and security in accordance with the following plan. Overview of the African Peace and Security Architecture, the Peace and the Security Council of the African Union, mandate, achievement and challenges, the African Standby Force, the early warning system of the African Union, the panel of the wise of the AU and the regional economic community, or it's called regional mechanism for conflict prevention, management and resolution. And lastly, a recommendation, but I will be very, very brief. Overview of the African Peace and Security Architecture, APSA, in abbreviation. APSA is organized around structure, objectives, principle, and value, and covers a broad agenda in the service of peace and security on early warning and conflict prevention, peace support, and recovery and post-conflict development, consolidation and reconstruction, promotion of democratic practice, good governance, and the respect of human rights, and humanitarian action and disaster management. The protocol relating to the establishment of the Peace and the Security Council of the African Union, adopted in Durban, South Africa in July 2002, which entered into force in December 2003, describes the component of the APSA, it means African Peace and Security Architecture, and their respective responsibilities. The Peace and the Security Council of the African Union, its mandate is designed to serve as a permanent decision body for the prevention, management, and the resolution of conflicts. The Peace and Security Council is a collective security system in charge of conflict and the crisis situation in Africa. The Peace and Security Council is supported by the AU Commission, a panel of the wise, as well as a continental early warning system, and a standby force, and the special fund. The Peace and Security Council is guided by the principal content in the Constitutive Act of the African Union, the United Charter, and the United Nations Charter, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Peace and Security Council is composed by 15 members. It means 15 states, which elected by the African Union Conference for, among the members, 10 members are elected for 2 years, and the 5 members elected for 3 years. The achievement, field mission, and liaison offices. The African Union, from its creation, has opened 13 liaison offices and could lead more independent field mission, peacekeeping mission, it means, such as the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, the African Union mission in Sudan, AMIS, the International Support Mission in Mali, AFISMA, and the International Support and Stabilization Mission in the Central African Republic, MISCA, or jointly with the UN as UNAMID in Sudan. The MISMA and the MISCA, it means AFISMA in Mali, and MISCA in Central African Republic were converted into the UN peacekeeping missions. The challenges which facing Africa in this domain, in this sector of peace and security issues, it is lack and unpredictability of funding of peace operation, difficulties of coordination with the United Nations, difficulties in policy coordination and weakness of African member states, external interference, marginalization of the African Union in management of certain crises, and the persistence and complexity of conflicts, Libya, DRC, South Sudan, Central African Republic, etc. The African Standby Force. The African Standby Force is one of the major components of the African peace and security architecture. It's created, this force is composed of multidisciplinary contingent with civilian and military component stationed in their countries of origin and ready for rapid deployment as appropriated. The Constitutive Act of the African Union authorizes intervention in a member state in case of serious circumstances, such as case of war crimes, genocide, and crimes against humanity. Given the technical and political difficulties in the implementation of the African Standby Force by the 2015 deadline, the AU summit held in January 2014 in Addis Ababa, pending the full operationalization of the African peace and security architecture, decided to create the African capacity for immediate response to crisis, ACIRC, as a transitional measure event, though it is not unanimously accepted. Several member states have expressed their willingness to contribute troops for its operationalization. Furthermore, high-level meetings at the level of defense minister are held regularly to discuss issues relating to the operationalization of the African Standby Force. In addition, a field exercise is planned in Lesotho in the course of the year. The exercise will be crucial in assessing the responsiveness of the African Standby Forces. Quickly about the AU Early Warning System. The Continental Early Warning System is a systematic collection and the analysis of information on crisis areas, which aims to anticipate and prevent conflict in order to facilitate decision making. It comprises a center of observation and control called Situation Room. It's in Addis Ababa, responsible for collecting and analyzing data. Observational and control units of regional mechanism connected with the Situation Room. The system has developed an early warning module based on economic, political, social, military, and humanitarian indicators to analyze changing situation and recommend the best course of action. The chairperson of the commission uses the information collected by the system to inform the Peace and the Security Council on potential conflict and the threats to peace and the security, and recommends measures to take. There is also in this architecture what we are calling the panel of the wise. The panel of the wise is established to support the effort to the Peace and Security Council and those of the chairperson of the commission. It's composed of 5 African personalities highly respected to their outstanding contribution to the cause of peace, security, and the development on the continent. These individuals are selected by the chairperson of the African Union Commission after consulting relevant member states on the basis of regional representation, and are appointed for a period of 3 years by the Conference of the African Union. The panel of the wise provides advisory service to the Peace and the Security Council and the chairperson of the Commission on all matters concerning the maintenance and promotion of peace, security, and stability in Africa. The last element of this architecture, it is a regional economic community or regional mechanism for conflict prevention, management, and resolution. Regional mechanism and regional economic community called REX are an integral part of the security architecture of the EU and responsible for the establishment of a force across the region. The African standby force, once operational, will consist of 5 regional brigades. Each will provide 5,000 troops. The Southern Africa Development Community Brigades, it is for the South region. The East Africa Standby Brigade, the Economic Community of West Africa State Brigade, the North Africa Regional Capacity Brigade, and the Economic Community of Central Africa State Brigade, which is also known as the Central Africa Multidimensional Force, FOMA. Regional brigades will normally be composed of standby multidisciplinary contingents with civilian and military components stationed in their countries of origin and ready for rapid deployment on appropriate notice. Member states shall provide the necessary troops for the operationalization of the African Standby Force and African capacity for immediate response. The African Union must continue to design peacekeeping operation in the example of AMISOM in Somalia as part of its strategic partnership with the United Nations. The strategic partnership between the African Union and the United Nations should be strengthened further and result in capacity building of the African Union, whose role is increasingly growing, facing multiple security challenges on the continent. And I thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Your Excellency, I think you've touched a very vital point. Without peace and security, there is no way we can talk of progress and development. Because when fire is burning in your roof, on your roof, and you are preparing meal, how will you be able to sit down and eat that meal? The issue of peace and security is something which is very global. And the point you make, you bring into the real core of discussion your experience at the AU. Where is Libya today? What is happening to Egypt today? The Great Pyramids region. And look at Mali. Look at all those areas. Republic of Congo. If we cannot take the bull by the horn to provide solution, where are we going?